I've read several articles about how Warner Brothers is really worried about the success of the Superman movie coming out in July. If this movie fails to launch the DCU, it could really be horrible news for Warner Brothers' bottom line. So that means Superman is a do-or-die film for Warner Brothers, because it has to do really well laying the groundwork for the rest of the movies coming for the DCU. So in today's video, we're going to talk about the issues facing Superman, what it needs to do to succeed, and what might hinder it from being a success. But first, like, subscribe, and share. Anything you can do to help my channel reach more people will be greatly appreciated. And if you like this video, hit that bell so you can get my videos as soon as they release. So James Gunn's Superman is the first film to come out in the DCU. Yes, Creature Commandos technically came out last December, but that's a cartoon, and most people won't even watch it. The first time most people in the general audience will see anything from the DCU will be when they see Superman when it hits theaters in July. And it desperately needs to start off strong. It's basically the Iron Man of their new universe. If this doesn't do well, they may possibly stop making more movies in the future. Or even worse is if it's just bad. Even if it makes a lot of money, if this movie is not enjoyed by people, they won't go back to see what comes next. They've already seen what the horrible start it was. And as of the last 10 years, Warner Brothers feels constantly like they're behind Marvel. They feel like they have to keep trying to launch the DC universe one way or another, and they keep trying to force it in, even when it might not be great. Look at pretty much everything that came out in the DCEU. It was behind Marvel, and they kept just launching movie after movie, hoping to make their own cinematic universe. And of course, that came crashing down very quickly. Also, the DCEU had no central vision. Especially in the later half, you had a bunch of different directors all doing their own ideas. This one should be at least a little bit more focused because James Gunn will be overseeing everything as Kevin Feige oversees everything in Marvel. But one big issue facing Superman is the fact that they picked July 2025 to release their movie. An absolutely horrible month to pick to launch your universe. First of all, you're going against Fantastic Four. And while more people know of Superman than the Fantastic Four are already in the MCU, a universe that's so solid they can have mistake after mistake and everyone's still gonna line up to go see them. That's because they had a solid base to start on, and just because they have a few bad movies, sometimes all in a row, people are still gonna show up. Everyone's incredibly excited for Doomsday, for example. So they picked to start off the same month as Fantastic Four. But not only that, they have Jurassic World Rebirth. And while I'm not excited to see it, Jurassic World always seems to make at least $600 to $700 million when it goes to the theaters, and over $1 billion when they actually make a good one. Plus, being July, you have a bunch of children's movies as well. You have the Smurfs and you have the bad guys too. Basically, the field is full of A-list films. Personally, I would have released the movie in June, May having Mission Impossible and Thunderbolts, and July having Fantastic Four. This seems like the best month that they could have released the film. Their only other real big movie that they would have had to deal with in June is How to Train Your Dragon, but guess what? Months have 4 weeks in them. They could have just spread this movie away from How to Train Your Dragon. My point is if you're worried about your movie not being a success, why release it when there's so many other big films coming out the same month? You're going to be choking each other when a family can only decide which film they want to see. Do they want to see the newest reboot of Superman, or do they want to see the newest reboot of Fantastic Four? Honestly, at this point, we don't know which one will be better, but you've now left it up to those people to decide, instead of if you put it alone, and it would have been the only superhero movie for them to have the option to see. And people are apprehensive of going to see another Superman movie. They feel like they've seen about 10 of them in the last 20 years, each one having 1 or 2 movies and then being canceled again. And that's a little bit on you, Warner Brothers. You keep trying and you won't stick with the same Superman. You have a Superman on TV, you have a Superman in the movie theaters, and then you switch it up and you get a new one on TV and you get a new one in the movie theaters, and frankly, people are starting to get tired. And so much of the DCU rests on the shoulders of Superman being a success. I can't say this enough, but Warner Brothers is more than willing to cancel completed films. I give you the Batgirl movie, I give you Coyote vs. Acme. Those 2 movies were both completed, and Warner Brothers decided to write them off. They literally would rather write off what they spent than release it into the theaters, possibly making a loss. Hundreds, if not thousands of people worked on those movies, and they still just put them in the closet. Now don't get me wrong, I truly hope Superman succeeds. I know I will be there opening weekend. But let's be honest, I don't represent what the average moviegoer looks like. I pretty much go to see every superhero movie that comes out. I go to see every blockbuster that comes out, but most people are picking and choosing. And so when Superman will have to go on a lot of word of mouth because people are apprehensive of going to see it, having a second big movie coming out the next weekend is not a good sign, because that means that it has to go up against the word of mouth of that movie. So once again, Warner Brothers set Superman up to go against another option for that family to go see. They set themselves up for failure in a way. But those are just my current thoughts. What are your thoughts on Superman releasing in July against so many other films? And did I miss anything? Are there any other factors that may cause Superman to fail and thus cause the DCU to start off on a bad leg? Let me know in the comments. Hey, thanks for watching my video. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and check out those other videos on screen now.